Blue flag.
Yeah, I got it, Jim.
Blue flag.
Oh my god, I know.
Blue flag.
I know!
We'll need to pit for repairs. We've been called in by the stewards.
Blue flag, blue flag.
Blue flag.
Who cares?
Blue flag. New fastest lap.
Not
for
today.
Hill.
My road.
Car right, clear right. Still there. Hold your line. Clear left.
Fuck out of here. Hello and welcome to another video. This is part 3 of the iRacing Etiquette series here at the Cleveland Beamer Sim Sports channel. Today we're going to be talking about why you would facilitate a pass. In the previous video we talked about how you would make that pass happen, but this video we really want to talk about the why, because that's honestly a bit more important than the how. First and foremost, the most obvious reason somebody would want to facilitate the pass is if you're being told to. Now, how would you be told to? I don't mean by another driver. I mean by the rules that you're racing by. There are certain flags that are out there that indicate that you need to let faster traffic by. These are either solid blue flags or blue flags with a yellow stripe on them. Now, depending on what type of series you're running or what your racing league that you participate in utilizes will really determine how you should behave for those particular blue flags. So let's take a look at probably the most used one here in iRacing, and that's going to be the standard set by the iRacing Sporting Code. When looking at the iRacing Sporting Code, Code 5.1.7.5 for blue flags and also blue flags with diagonal stripes says, they indicate faster cars are approaching. This flag is informational only. In all cases, it's the responsibility of the faster car to overtake safely when going around the slower car. It is the responsibility of the slower car to maintain a consistent line. And it is strongly recommended that a slower car being lapped make every reasonable effort to facilitate a safe pass. Alright, simple enough. So if we break it down, iRacing's stance is to maintain your line when being shown the blue flag, and when possible, help the car that's trying to get around you overtake. It doesn't say you have to do this. It does not say that this is a get out of the way flag and you must immediately pull over and let these faster folks by. No, no, no. It says they strongly recommend that you allow the faster cars to overtake, but they are not requiring you to do so. However, in all cases, you do need to stay on the racing line and be consistent. You could choose to defend. Maybe this is for position. Maybe you are in a situation where you're trying to overtake the next position ahead for position or defending from that exact circumstance, but you still need to be aware of what's going on in your relative, and you need to stay on the racing line and be consistent. Now, not all games use the iRacing Sporting Code. This may be different in Assetto Corsa, an rFactor, etc. There's also racing leagues within iRacing where your particular league may use a different set of standards. Another popular sporting code out there is IMSA's Sporting Code. So let's take a look and see what IMSA says about this subject. When reviewing IMSA's Code 27.10 regarding blue flags, 27.10.1 states that if the flag is motionless, another competitor is following you and may be trying to pass you. 27.10.2 says if the flag is waved, another competitor may be rapidly overtaking you. Blue flags are normally used when the driver being overtaken may be unaware of the following car or is clearly obstructing another car. 27.10.3 the blue flag is an advisory flag and not considered a command flag. Alright, so IMSA's stance seems to be very similar to the iRacing sporting code. They make it very clear this is not a command flag. You do not need to just suddenly jump out of the way. But now they differentiate between a non-moving blue flag, which sounds very informative, versus a wave blue flag saying, hey, somebody's approaching you extremely quickly and you need to be aware of it. Now, IMSA goes out of their way to do this because IMSA has multi-class racing. And when it comes to iRacing, there's also opportunities for multi-class racing. And it's very important to tailor your approach to the type of racing you're doing. Let's say you're in a multi-class race. There are classes of cars that may be significantly faster than other classes of cars that are on the same track at the exact same time. In those situations, when you're being shown a blue flag, it's very important for you to be using your relative and to know, hey, is that a car within the same class or is that somebody in a faster class? When a faster class is approaching, etiquette-wise, you really do need to help facilitate those passes. Now, there's a final set of rules that are pretty popular amongst the iRacing leagues, and that's the FIA's rules, specifically with formula racing like Formula 1. Let's take a look and see what those say. Alright, so when looking at the FIA's Appendix H regarding blue flags, it states that during the race, the flag should normally be shown to a car about to be lapped. If the driver does not seem to be making full use of his rear view mirrors. So, when shown, the driver concerned must allow the following car to pass at the earliest opportunity. There are additional rules and regulations within Formula 1 that go as far as to say if the driver ignores 3 consecutive blue flags, a penalty will be issued to the driver. So the FIA stance is quite different. Regarding blue flags, they're essentially saying, hey, we see you're about to be lapped and you need to, within 3 turns, make sure that the car behind is able to get around you. This is kind of interesting because unlike the other 2 sporting regulations that were mentioned earlier between iRacing and IMSA, the FIA absolutely wants you to get out of the way. The other 2 series go out of their way to state that the blue flag is not a command flag. However, FIA, especially regarding Formula 1, says, nope, when you're shown that blue flag, it is imperative within 3 turns you need to be out of the way and allow the faster traffic to overtake you. This is because of the extreme speeds that come with F1. Whether it's because of damage, whether it's because the driver is simply off the pace, whatever it may be, they do not want somebody who is significantly slower a lap for whatever reason to hinder people that are on the lead lap that are going significantly faster. This can lead to accidents, this can lead to frustration and contact. They don't want to deal with it, so they simply say, hey, show you the flag, you need to get out of the way. So some other blue flag considerations. We already talked about what the flag means and under different sets of rules. Talked about multi-class racing. Now we would need to talk about other reasons that you may want to consider allowing faster cars go by. Earlier in multi-class racing, I mentioned the speed differentials. Another thing that tends to come with multi-class racing is endurance racing. These races could be anywhere from 2 to 24 hours long. An important thing to consider with endurance racing is making it to the finish. And the biggest thing, while I catch the car here, the biggest thing that prevents you from getting to the finish is contact, accidents. These are items that will either lead to you being towed to the pit, or you'll have to pit to have your car repaired. This is extremely detrimental to your overall race, and it's something you want to avoid. Why do I bring this up? So when it comes to the consideration of letting cars by, you may be starting an endurance race. Let's say you're doing the 24-hour Le Mans, and you find yourself racing a particularly aggressive driver. You may, after some period of time, determine that you do not feel safe with them attempting to pass you. And it may be more prudent to just simply let them by. More often than not, in endurance racing, if there's somebody that's being hyper aggressive, if you just let them by, they will eventually crash all on their own. Aggression really needs to be used sparingly when it comes to endurance racing. There's a time and a place for it, but more often than not, consistency is really what's going to win you an endurance race. Now, at the end of the day, what you choose to do is totally up to you. Just keep in mind that if you choose to be stubborn and you choose to not let a faster car overtake you, especially when you notice that they are several seconds a lap faster than you, you just need to keep in mind a few things. First, you need to keep in mind that that's tremendously going to upset the car trying to get around you, especially when it's not for position. If you are fighting for position, you have every right to fight for that position. Whether it's wise or not is a totally other subject. However, if you are not fighting for position, if you're being lapped by somebody and you choose to hinder the progress of the car getting around you, in my opinion, you have no reason to be doing so. There is no reason to hinder the face of a faster car. And in fact, you are not only doing that car a disservice, but you're also introducing a whole nother level of risk that doesn't need to be there. You have to remember, when a car approaches you that is several seconds a lap faster than you, they're probably significantly more committed when it comes to their cornering speeds, their braking zones. And if you are unpredictable and thus going slower around the track, you may create a situation where you're going to contact a car that you shouldn't even be racing. Again, if you're being lapped by somebody, you're not racing them. They are racing somebody that's around them. When you are racing, you're racing for the next position. If you're blocking the progress of somebody that's 10, 15, 20 positions ahead of you, you have no business racing that person that's ahead of you. Just food for thought. Alright folks, well hopefully that's given you some additional insight on why you'd want to facilitate the pass. If you have any suggestions or other items you would like to see covered in the Etiquette series, definitely let me know in the comments. If you disagree with my stance on why you shouldn't block faster traffic, also let me know why in the comments. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining. We'll catch you next time. Hehehe